Hello everybody, this is my formative assessment tool that I chose to investigate, which is the program Quizzes online. What is it? It's a gamification method that uses quizzes, and there's also a lesson portion to it. But it allows the teacher to create their own quizzes and lessons or pull from a repository library of user-generated material. The questions can then, which is really useful, the questions can be altered to fit the need of the teacher. So a lot of these online programs, sometimes they kind of force you to use their own questioning format, where quizzes allows you to alter the questions of the user-generated material. What it does is it adds a fun and dynamic way to formally assess your students. My students look forward to using this stuff in class. They have fun and enjoy this kind of way of testing what they know. For how it works, the teacher makes an educator account. This can be easily linked to their Google account if you use Google Suite. There's two major pathways. There's the quizzes, which I'm going to focus on. There's also lessons. I won't get into that for time's sake, but the quizzes are formative assessments. The quizzes, you can generate a quiz of multiple question types. There is multiple choice, checkbox, fill in the blank, poll, or open-ended question types, which is really useful. I tend to steer more to the multiple choice, but I have tried a few of the others in random occasions. The teacher can write their own questions or select from a question bank. They're easily typed in, and I'll show you that in the next slide. Or you can actually go through a question bank and easily add questions with the add button to your presentation. So here's an example of what the question editor would look like. You write your question in the upper left-hand corner, you put your options, and this is a display of what it would look like on the student's end or the presentation end. To continue, students will be able to access the questions with a unique PIN code. This can be assigned in two different ways, either a live quiz as you're doing it synchronously in front of the class, or you could assign it asynchronously and have the kids complete it on their own time through whatever learning platform that you're using. A report is then generated for the teacher to look at and for the students to kind of get feedback of where they're at. And you can kind of use that information to see where your students are need to, grow or glow. As far as why I like it, students get real-time feedback on the questions, which is really useful for them. It's a dynamic and exciting way for them to do something that's kind of a mundane task. And the reports show the teacher where the students are excelling or possibly struggling in the course content. As far as meeting the keys and competencies, for sound design, Quizzes has multiple question types, which allows for more longevity of usage. It allows you to kind of dial in the specific type of question you need for the type of assessment you're running. The question generation, because the educator can create the questions, this does leave it up to the educator to eliminate bias, but hopefully we all are actively trying to do that. With using the library, you need to be extra careful with vetting the questions for appropriateness. Are they written clearly? Do they meet the standard? But because it has that editing feature, I think it does meet that competency because you can eliminate questions that don't meet that standard. As far as the sample size goes, you can generate as many questions as you need to meet your sample size for generating whether or not the students are understanding the information. And those reports are going to be able to tell you the student performance afterwards. For Key 4, Competency 4, the formative usefulness, it's engaging. Students like it. It's fun for them. The gamification really helps with this. It creates a competition. However, that can detract every once in a while if the students get really into the competition versus actually reviewing. But I think that's up to the teacher to kind of help rein that in. Giving the feedback, the students get a self-check here, and they can understand where they are in the content. It also gives the teachers a good idea of where they need to expand upon if needed. Sometimes this could be follow-up remediation or targeted questioning afterwards. As far as goal setting goes, the assessment can be taken multiple times. You can set it up that the students can take it multiple times, which then could lead to building of ability there. However, that can lead to some rote learning, so that may not be the end goal. But the teacher can take this information and then kind of extrapolate out where they need to assist the students afterward. Lastly, for Key 5, Competency 5, effective communication, the students get immediate feedback. which is awesome. That's not always the case, especially with like exit tickets or something like that. If you have to personally hand grade them, so getting that immediate feedback is great for the students. They can see where they stand. For the teachers, the reports are able to tell you what questions they got correct or incorrect. And depending on the question, it doesn't necessarily tell you why they got it wrong, but it at least gets you to the point where which ones they did get wrong. Tracking, it doesn't have in the formal sense. However, multiple attempts for the students could solve this issue and see if they're making progress from the material. But remember, it does kind of have that rote memorization piece to it. And lastly, formative versus summative usage for comparison of scores. You could use this as a pretest and then compare that to their summative test answers and or summative assessment answers and see if there was progress made through the content, and essentially the standards have been met in that way. So I do think quizzes does meet these key concepts and competencies. It's a great program, keeps the kids engaged. Thanks for watching, guys.